In this lesson, you will learn about the risk register. Risk management is an integral part of any project or business operation that involves identifying, assessing, and prioritizing uncertainties that could potentially affect the achievement of objectives. One of the most effective tools used in risk management is the risk register. Now, this includes a list of key risk indicators, the risk owners, and the risk threshold. We will also discuss some other related concepts, such as the risk description, risk impact, risk likelihood, risk outcome, risk appetite, risk tolerance, and risk level. So, what is a risk register? A risk register is also known as a risk log. It is a document that records details about identified risk, including their description, impact, likelihood, and mitigation actions. It serves as a crucial tool for communication and helps in tracking and managing potential risks throughout the project lifecycle. A risk register might also resemble the heat map risk matrix. A risk register should be shared between shareholders so that they can better understand the work they manage. The risk register will contain several key areas, including the risk description, risk impact, risk likelihood, risk outcome, risk level, and the cost of each risk identified in the risk register. The first step in creating a risk register is to describe the risk. This involves identifying the risk and providing a detailed description of what it entails. The description should be clear and concise, enabling anyone reading the risk to understand the risk without requiring additional information. Second, we have the risk impact. The impact of a risk refers to the potential consequences if the risk actually takes place. It could be in terms of cost, time, quality, or any other critical project objective. The impact is usually rated on a scale, i.e., low, medium, high, depending on the severity of the potential consequences. Third, we have the risk likelihood. Likelihood or probability is the chance of a particular risk occurring. Like impact, it's also typically rated on a scale. The scale could be numerical, just say 1 to 5 or 1 through 10, or descriptive, like rare, unlikely, possible, likely, almost certain. Fourth, we have the risk outcome. The outcome is the result of the risk if it occurs. It is directly related to the impact and likelihood of the risk. The outcome helps in understanding the overall effect of the risk on the project. Fifth, we have the risk level or threshold. The risk level or threshold is determined by combining the impact and likelihood. It helps prioritize risk and deciding which risks require immediate attention, and the risk level can be categorized as high, medium, or low. Sixth, we have the cost. The cost of a risk is the financial impact it could have on a project. It could be the cost incurred if the risk occurs or the cost of mitigating the risk. Now, I mentioned that one of the things contained in a risk register is the risk level or threshold. But before we can determine the level of risk to record it as high, medium, or low, it's crucial to identify the tolerance level and risk appetite of your organization. The risk tolerance or risk acceptance is the degree of uncertainty an organization or individual is willing to handle while achieving their objectives. It is the maximum amount of risk that they are prepared to accept. Tolerating or accepting the risk means that no countermeasures are defined because the level of risk does not justify the cost or because there will be unavoidable delays before the countermeasures are deployed. Simply, the organization chooses to not do anything about the risk. Risk appetite is a key concept in risk management that refers to the amount and type of risk an organization is willing to pursue or retain in order to achieve its strategic objectives. It essentially reflects the organization's approach towards risk-taking. There are three main types of risk appetite: expansionary, conservative, and neutral. An expansionary risk appetite indicates that the organization is willing to take on more risk for the potential of higher returns. This approach is often seen in aggressive growth-oriented businesses. On the other hand, a conservative risk appetite suggests that the organization prefers to take less risk, even if it means accepting lower returns. This is common in businesses that prioritize stability and long-term sustainability. Lastly, a neutral risk appetite signifies a balance between risk and return. Organizations with a neutral risk appetite aim to strike a balance between taking calculated risk and ensuring steady growth. By identifying the tolerance level and risk appetite up front, organizations can effectively categorize and prioritize risk. This helps them to align their risk management efforts with the overall strategic objectives and ensures that the resources are utilized effectively. Now that we have a basic risk register completed, we need to add two or more things to it: the key risk indicators and the risk owner. Key risk indicators, or KRIs, are critical predictive metrics that organizations use to provide an early signal of increasing risk exposure in various areas of the enterprise. Key risk indicators serve as a barometer of risk or safety levels, providing a forward-looking view of potential risk and are often associated with the organization's risk appetite. Key risk indicators are used to measure the potential impact and likelihood of a risk, allowing organizations to take proactive steps to manage the risk before it escalates. They are typically tied to the organization's objectives and are used to monitor changes in the level of risk that can affect the ability to achieve these objectives. For example, in a banking institution, a key risk indicator could be the number of loan defaults in a given period. A sudden increase in this key risk indicator might indicate a higher risk of credit default, which could prompt the bank to investigate and take action to mitigate this risk. Another important thing to document in your risk register is the risk owner. The risk owner is the person or group responsible for managing the risk. They are responsible for monitoring their risk, implementing mitigation actions, and updating the risk register as necessary. For example, a risk owner could be a project manager in a construction project. Now, in this particular context, the project manager would be responsible for identifying potential risks such as delays due to bad weather or cost overruns due to fluctuating material prices. They would monitor these risks, implement mitigation strategies like scheduling work for dry weather or locking the material prices in early, and update the risk register as necessary. The project manager, as the risk owner, would be accountable for managing these risks and ensuring the project stays on track. So remember, the risk register, the risk appetite, and key risk indicators are three pivotal elements in effective risk management. The risk register serves as a comprehensive document that records and tracks potential risk, facilitating clear communication and effective management of uncertainties throughout a project's lifecycle. Risk appetite, whether expansionary, conservative, or neutral, guides an organization's approach to risk-taking, influencing how risks are categorized and prioritized. And lastly, we have KRIs, which provide an early warning system for potential risks, allowing organizations to proactively manage risks before they escalate, thereby aligning risk management efforts with strategic objectives. Understanding and effectively utilizing these components can significantly enhance an organization's ability to navigate uncertainties and achieve its objectives.